Hello and welcome to the second video in the Teach Yourself Python Lists series. If you haven't seen the first video and the task connected with it, click on the link below. In this second video, we are going to play with Shakespeare. We're going to write or teach ourselves to write a program that can change Romeo and Juliet. So you can make Romeo and Juliet whatever you want. How do we do this? Well, we need to learn how to replace an item in a list. So let's get into it. Very famous tragedy, Romeo and Juliet. Okay, so my list here I've got is Romeo loves Juliet. We're going to replace Romeo. We want to replace it, let's say, with Max. Not Romeo loves Juliet, but Max loves Juliet. Okay, so how can we replace that? We come into our search engine. Top and say Python replace a word in a list. Find and replace string values. Oh, here we go. This looks interesting. Words, there's our list. Blah, 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 blah. What's the solution? Oh, the solution is very, very easy. And look, it's very, very popular. And it even tells you list comprehensions. And there's a link. So you can click on that and read more. Okay. So this is all looking very complicated. No, not really. Okay, so let's take our list here. And copy and paste it. Let's have a quick look. How much is brr? The fish brr? No, really. Okay, so obviously they're going to want to change brr to something else. Let's put it in there and let's get the solution. And the solution is words is equal to W replace. Well, there it is. There's our brr. And then boom for W in words. So replace brr. So we have brr and we don't want it. We want this one here. So let's replace it maybe with a different language.
Yes, very good, John. Change the code. You must always play with the code. Gioca sempre con il codice. Always play with the code.
Let's replace it with chickens. Chickens dance well in Chinese. So first of all, how do we say that?
鸡跳得好.
鸡跳得好. Okay, 鸡跳得好. Chickens dance well. So let's replace it there. Boom. There we go. Hey, this is looking good. Okay, let's print words. Okay. So we've got how much? So this is probably going to get rid of brr and then put in 鸡跳得好. Chickens dance well. Yeah. So we can see here is 鸡跳得好. And the next one, fish, 鸡跳得好. Good. So we've got it. So replace list equals Romeo, Juliet. Let's have a look. So what do? We take replace list, and then we say it's equal to, and we take this one here, boom, and we want to replace brr. So we don't want to replace brr, we want to replace Romeo. We don't want these, boom, boom, and we want to replace Romeo with, oops, with Max. Boom. There we go. So print, 1 second. Print replace list. Oh, I see what's going wrong. Oops. Because I've got how much is. I said replace list is W dot replace for W in words. This is words here and this is words here. So it didn't look. I changed it to a different replace list. Okay, so let's come back. Do it again. replace list is this one here. Okay, and then we come back here. Is W replace for W in words? So do I put it here, replace list. Replace list dot replace for replace list in replace list. No. So we need to think about this. Let's have a look at this one here again. Okay. Let's have a look at this one here. So words is the name of it, and this is in words. Okay, so W for W in words. So this might be a little bit difficult for you. If it is a little bit difficult for you and you want to continue to teach yourself, go back into your search engine, into DuckDuckGo or Google, and have a look for a different solution. I will teach you a little bit here. So what this W, it can be anything. Basically, it just means that for each thing in the list. So in our list, we've got how much is BR the. So for every word in this list, for that word, replace this item with this item. Okay, so what it will do is it will look at our first word there. So look at how. That's the first W in the list, and the second W in the list, and the third W in the list. So it will look at how, and if how is BR, it will then replace it with detail the how. It will then look at much, and if much is BR, it will change it with this. So it actually goes through every individual item in the list. So what we need to do is we need to have replace list is equal for word replace that's not in this words list, but for every word that is in replace list. Okay, so that one should work. We'll print replace list. Max loves Juliet. Wonderful stuff. The advantage of this technique, where you look at every word in the list, is that you can change. If Romeo is in that list several times, you can change it several times. So, for example, let's say we have this one here. Romeo loves Juliet. It loves Romeo. So here we've got two Romeos. And if we put that in again, this one here, if we replace Romeo with Max for every word. Now it doesn't have to be word. It can be like for every word in our list dot. So that makes it a bit clearer, doesn't it? For every word in our list, replace Romeo with Max. For every word, but then you have to change that second W. Bang. Let's print it. And we can see here it changed the first Romeo to Max and the second Romeo. Okay? So it doesn't matter how big our text is. It doesn't matter how big our text is. We can replace every single Romeo in that text. Easy, it's a little bit easier. So we can throw that in. Okay, so we've got our list there with all these different numbers. And here we have 4 if x is... Let's have a look at what happens with this one here. 4 if x equals 1 else in A. Okay, so A refers to that name there. That's A. And then 4 if x is 1 else x for x in A. So it's quite confusing. Let's just print it. Okay, so we can see 4, and there we have a 4. We had a 1 there. And then we've got 2, 3, 2, 3, and there's 4. And there's 1. Okay, so... And there's another 1 and another 1 and another 4 and another 4. So obviously this is saying 4 if x is equal to 1. So just let me...
She always played with the code.
What we can do is x is equal to 1. What that means is just this, for each item or element in A. Yep, for each item in A. So for the first item, or zeroth element, which is 1. Okay, so if that first item for each item in A, if that first item is equal to 1, change it to a 4. Now there are no 1s. Okay, so let's change it. If the first item, if the item equals 3, okay, the item equals 3. Okay, for each item in this list A, if it's 3, then change it to 4. But let's change that. Let's make it a word. So let's make it cookie. Cookie. There we go. So for each item in the A, if it's 3, you change it to cookie. Else the item, leave it as it is. Boom. And boom. Okay, so that's exactly the same. We can call this anything we want. It just means, hey, look at the first item, or the 0th elephant item. If it's 3, change it to cookie. If it's not 3, for that item, leave it as that item. So we can call it anything. We can say, for everything, if everything is 3, change it to cookie. But for everything that's not free, then save it as it is. So I'll just make that a bit bigger and change it. There we go. Okay, so it doesn't matter what that's called. There we go, cookie. So it's gone into 3 and replaced it with cookie. Okay, so that's another way of doing it. That's a second way of doing it. Let's have a third way of doing it. So I'll skip the search and show you. Okay, this is another way. Our list is this one here, 1, 2, and 3. So let's put that in there, 1, 2, and 3. And then we do this one here. Oops. Okay, so this one replaced. So we've got the word 1, and that says number 1 and equals replaced. So there's no word replaced. Obviously, we're putting that word in there. So say hi max. Okay, we go like that, and then we can print this hi max. Okay, so that's gone to number. It's replaced that word 1. Okay, let's check. Let's do this again. No, I'll change that. Make this 1, 2, 3, and then 1 at the end. Okay, so our new list, this is the latest one, is 1, 2, 3, and 1. So we've got 2 1s. Let's see if we can change it. So list index 1, change it with hi max, and then we'll print list. There we go. So we can see the first one, hi max, was changed. It was replaced, but the second one wasn't. So that's interesting, isn't it? So we can use this technique of list square brackets and then list the name dot index 1 hi max, but we're only going to change the first one it sees and not all of them. Okay, so I mean, which one's the best one? It depends on what you want to do. If you only want to change one of them, then obviously this is easily the best one. If you want to change the item every single time it's in the list, then this other one's obviously going to be better. Another question is what this one that goes through with the if for everything, is that quicker than the other one for x in blah blah blah, change x? That's what you'd think. Okay, which one's quicker? You could measure them. Obviously, if you're going through a lot of data and you have to change a lot, that might make a bit of a difference there. Okay, so the homework. So let's have a look. Okay, so what we want is we want the text of Romeo and Juliet. So .txt, you put that into a search engine and you'll find probably Gutenberg.org. You click on that. So Gutenberg.org, Project Gutenberg, it's a website that has lots of different old books on it. And if you have a look, you've got HTML, something called EPUB, plain text. You click on the plain text, and there it is. That is Romeo and Juliet. The heads of the maids are the heads of the maids. Why no, but sadly tell me who. So that's the whole play. This is the whole play of Romeo and Juliet. What I did was I took out some, and I copied and pasted into a text document here. Okay, so what your task is going to be, what you want to do is you want to replace Romeo with any name you like. Okay, think about it a little bit. When I did it, I put in the word Romeo, but as you can see here, Rom and Jewel. So you have to change this Rom as well. And then if you look down through the text, there's a Romeo, there's a Romeo. Okay, so what you'll need to do is actually replace two words. So that's the first part of the task. I'll put this list into the description below the video. The second part of the task, I want you to go to gutenberg.org. So let me just chuck that now. So you can see there, up here, gutenberg.org. You need to think of a book. You need to think of a book. It says here, search for books. Now, all of these books are free. The reason why they're free is they're all very old. So when you choose a book, don't choose a new book. Choose like one of the classics. So I'll put in a Russian classic, Crime and Punishment. For example, that's the name of Crime and Punishment. Okay, what have we got there? Where is it? Sort alphabetically. Here's something. Oh, there we go. It's in Russian. Okay, so I've got Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And then you need to find the UTF-8. Okay, and then I want you to copy as much of that as you want. Okay, a few words about Dostoevsky. Here we go. A young man came out. What a beginning. Okay, so take that text, copy it, and then put it into your program there. Don't forget that you probably want to make sure that it's there like that. Okay, so you can see what happened there. I tried to paste it in, but it didn't work when I put it into these. For example, if I put hot, you can see it's a word. But when I paste this one here, it goes green and then it changes. Okay, so in part of this task, you need to discover why that's the case. So you need to fix this little problem. Okay, so the first task is the Romeo and Juliet one in the description. Second task is go onto gutenberg.org, find an old book, put some of the text into your Python program, make sure that it's words, make sure that it's green. So you need to solve that problem. And then change or replace whatever words you want.